Hi everyone, Elliot Jacobson here, and today I want to talk about how we can identify a baccarat scammer, fraudster, liar, troll, or delusional bragger. Unfortunately, these sorts of people are just way too common on message boards, Facebook, YouTube videos, having written books themselves, and we just need a very simple way of knowing whether what the person is saying actually has any merit to it or not. And I'm going to give you the answer today. So just hang on. As usual, I have a PowerPoint to present to you. So here it is, how to identify a baccarat scammer, fraudster, liar, troll, or delusional bragger. And let's just get going. So here is our problem in a nutshell. There is a player who is making a public claim that he has a proven method that he can beat the game of baccarat, and you don't believe him. You want to know how you can be sure if his method wins or loses. So before I give you the answer, what I want to do is go through the ways that I most often see people challenge these things in social media and talk about why these methods fail. So the first non-method is someone will ask to see proof from this person's casino play. That proof may come either in the form of win-loss statements, or maybe tax returns showing gambling earnings, or some other direct evidence of past results, even a statement from the casino's pit boss, whatever it is. Anything to show that he's actually won what he has claimed to have won at the game. Now, here are some problems with this method. The person may be a scammer, liar, or a fraud. They may just attack you outright, just call you the things that you're calling them, and it just becomes a troll fest internet feud on whatever the platform is, whether it's the comments to a YouTube video, or it's a Facebook group, or it's a message board. Second problem, the person who is making the claim may actually believe that they've done this, but they simply encountered statistical bias. It is usually not the case that the person who is making a statistical claim is actually the person who is recording the data, because we have built-in biases and we tend to see things that we want to remember and discard the bad information. So we should always have a third independent party being the recorder of statistical information if we are the subject of that experiment. So these sorts of biases may be part of it. But probably the most important problem with disputing the claims of this person is most likely he really did win exactly what he claimed. So what? Does that make the method a winning method? And what if he lost? Does that make it a losing method? Wins and losses have almost nothing to do with whether a system is genuinely a winning system or a losing system. They are simply anecdotal. And the reason is that a given person may have won over some period of time. That doesn't mean that he is playing a winning method. So in another video, I presented these sort of sample sessions of play. And here is a typical single player who's played 1,000 shoes of baccarat, and the break-even point is this line right here. And we can track in this red line the player's actual results. This red line right down here, this red line represents the theoretical results, and the other curves are the standard deviations. I don't want to get into the math here, but what I want to point out is that this one random player finished about 2 standard deviations ahead of expectation after 1,000 shoes. So roughly 2.5% of all players will finish above the second standard deviation. But most notably, we can see here that after 250 shoes, he's still beating the game. Now, if you think of a shoe as taking an hour and a half, this may represent a whole year or a couple years worth of play for this person. So here is a person who may genuinely believe they have a winning system, and they've been playing it at the casino for years, and they've been winning. But it doesn't mean they're a winner, and it doesn't mean the system they're using is a winning system. It simply means that there are statistical aberrations, and if he is genuinely a person who is playing, getting lucky and is at that second standard deviation, you could see even then eventually he's a loser. The third standard deviation isn't a loser until about 650 shoes. But eventually it doesn't matter what kind of player you are. The long run will catch up to you. But we can't be disputing claims in the long run. We need information today, right? So non-method 2 says, look, I don't want to look at your past results. I want to challenge you to go into a casino today, and I want to see you in action because I want to see your method. And you claim you can win with your method. Let me see you do this. And maybe this person will even want to bet you to make it worth his while that he can win. And the bet might be, look, I bet you that I win today. I will leave the casino with more money than I entered playing baccarat. And he gets real nasty and says, put your money where your mouth is, right? So you acquiesce, and then you discover that he uses a method like a martingale. And if the casino table limits allow 6 or 7 double ups, then you're probably going to find out that he's going to win over 90% of the time. He could walk out of there a winner very easily, right? So there are certain systems that sort of, on the whole, you either win a little bit quite often, or you lose a large amount very rarely. And so if he uses one of those systems, you're going to lose your wager, right? So the problem is this person can define a session. He may just say to himself, look, I will be a winner today. Well, most of the time, most people are a winner at some point during their play. That doesn't mean that their systems are winning systems. It just means people have ups and downs in their play. Very rarely is it the case that you walk into a casino and just lose from the first hand and lose and lose and lose and never have anything go your way. Also, in that sense, Fred could determine his session. His session is after he's won, he says, look, I'm done. I told you I'd beat the casino. I'm $5 ahead. So I win the bet. And as I showed in the previous image, you simply can't play enough hands against this guy to make a determination. I showed you 250, 300 shoes, right? He could still be ahead just by pure luck. I've known players who have beaten the game. This is as somebody who has investigated players for the casino industry, right? I have seen players beat the house playing 1 or 2 weekends a month over a period of years just by luck. Some players will get lucky. Some will get very lucky, right? And those players have to exist. That's the nature of statistics. But it doesn't mean that the systems they're playing are winning systems. All right, method number 3. You never want to do this. You never want to start attacking one of these guys, calling them a liar or a troll or a scammer. I mean, they very well could be a liar or a troll or a scammer, but that will not get you very far in life. Provoking someone and proving are very different things. And our politics today are very much exactly like this. So provoking is different than proving. It is the method we want to disprove. We don't care about the person's results, what happened in the past with the person, although it may be a lie. Who cares? We don't care about what happens in the future with the person. They may get lucky. We only care about that method that they are claiming is a winning method. So there are 2 types of winning systems out there. One is where you are playing against the game, but you're also taking into account all of the other benefits you may be given, the comps, the loss rebates, the promotions, the points, the free this, the the food, the meals, the beverages, the shows, whatever it is. And you add all of that stuff together and you realize that you're coming out ahead. That is not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is playing against the game of baccarat itself and beating it outright. We are playing, sitting down at the table, and can we have a reliable way of being confident that in the long run, we will be a winner, that our method is generating an edge over the house. Now, there is one word This is it. This is giving it away to you. There is one word that suffices to tell if you are beating baccarat outright. All right, pause the video, see if you can think of that one word. All right, you back? So here it is. Information. We are talking about knowing something about the game in the context of the ordinary rules and playing the game that you are not intended to know. And that's all it takes to know whether this system is a real system or a scam, fraud, lie, trolling system. So let's just look at the examples that we already know. So among the proven losing systems are money management, progression, streaks, patterns, timing, discipline, all of these things. Now look at those things. For example, if you have a lucky charm, what information is that lucky charm giving you? If you have a superstition about the number 4 or 8, is that changing what you know about the cards that are in front of you? If you are using a progression, what information do you have about the cards, the order they're going to come out, that you didn't have if you didn't use that progression? You can see in each of these, you don't have any information that that method is providing you. So we're talking about knowledge, like there's a higher density of 10s, or the next card is expected to be a 7, 8, or 9, or some real, tangible, physical piece of information. And not one of these things gives that to you. Now, some people would argue that intuition is information. I have intuition that the next hand will be a banker win. Well, intuition is nice, but it is absolutely provably non-existent in gambling. And I refer you to the work of James Randi if you want to see some of the really brilliant experiments that he's conducted to show that. So, no informations. Fred's system is a losing system if it is a combination of systems that are previously proven losers. So if you were to take that list from the previous page and say, well, I'm going to have a money management combined with looking at certain patterns of wins and bankers and players, together with stop points, together with the lucky charm. Look, you cannot create information where none exists. If we have a whole host of individual items that don't provide information, then we can't create information from that. As another advantage player famously said, eating different types and flavors of jelly donuts is not a way to lose weight. If what you're talking about is essentially empty calories, you can't combine them to create something that's nutritious, right? It's not going to happen. So all of the scammy, trolly, lying, delusional methods have this common feature of no information. Now let's look at the systems that actually are known to beat the house and see that every single one of them does imply information. So a known card. So for example, if we observe a card during the cut procedure, or we cut a card to a specific location in the shoe, that is information about a card. Edge sorting allows us to know whether the next card is likely to be a high card or a low card. That's information. Card counting tells us the relative density of different cards in the shoe. So we have information about the density, the over or under abundance of certain cards. That can be used to beat side bets, for example. Tie bet can be beat using something called an end play, where we have information about the cards at the very end of the shoe. We may be a shuffle tracker or observe that a shuffle machine is giving a non-random shuffle, which will give us information about the order of the cards that are coming out. All of those legal methods share this commonality that they are based on information. How about illegal methods? People who use computers to compute the house edge in real time. Well, that's information. We know the edge, right? We know the exact house edge of the pairs bet or the tie bet or the player or the banker, and we can make the bets when the house edge is in our favor. Or they use a camera up their sleeve or a camera that's embedded into a gaff shoe to say what the next card will be. That's information. They may mark the cards. That's information. They may be working with the dealer. The dealer may be feeding them information about the cards that are going to come out. So again, all of the ways that actually beat the house outright include access to information. So look, Fred's system is a winning system if it generates a demonstrable and reproducible edge for the player that uses information not available to the recreational or straight player. So if the question ever comes up on an internet message board, is this person a lying, scamming fraudster troll? Or do they possibly have a real method to beat the house? Just ask them, what information do you have? What information do you know about the cards that is going to allow you to generate an edge? And then you can assess whether you believe that information is sufficient or not. But in absence of information, their system simply will not work. So, the last thing that could come up, right, is this brand new method that you've never heard of before. And that's when information is the key point. Because there is always going to be a new method, right? There's always innovation among advantage players, and there's innovation among cheaters. And so, if you are wondering whether this winning player is an advantage player, a cheater, or just lucky, right? Boil it down to that one question. Do they have information? And that will be the shorthand that'll get you to the end of the conversation just as quickly as possible. So, the world's simplest way to prove a baccarat system does not work. Does the proposed system involve getting information that the basic game assumes you will not have? If the answer is yes, it's possibly a winning system. You need to double check. But if the answer is no, then it is absolutely the case that the person proposing the system is involved in fraud, a scam, a lie, that they are a delusional bragger, or that they're a troll. And that's the end of the story. All right? If you're in front of this person talking with them on some message board or Facebook or YouTube in the comments, just leave it there. You don't need to go any further. You have your answer. So I hope this has been helpful to you to get you out of some fights you might be involved with right now and lead to a resolution just as quickly as possible when these questions come up in the future. All right, this is Elliot Jacobson. See you later.